Running back value shifts fast in Dynasty, and if you wait too long, the value can disappear overnight. In this video, I'm breaking down my top 5 sell-high running backs heading into the 2025 season. These are players whose hype, usage, or market perception may never be higher, and it could be the perfect time to cash out before things turn. Let's get right into it.
Hey.
All right, guys, at number 5 on my list is De'Von Achane of the Miami Dolphins, and I do think he's a solid player, but I think there's some big-time red flags in his game. So the first one I'll talk about is the Miami Dolphins offensive line. They were top 5 in stuffed runs last year. They were horrible, and De'Von Achane just doesn't have that contact balance because he's a smaller back to break through tackles and kind of make yards on his own in between the tackles. So that's a big-time red flag, and I think his efficiency is going to be just as bad as it was last year in terms of running the football. Now, the next thing, he was first among all running backs in receiving yards last year, and I think he had a ton of targets due to Brett Hundley and Skylar Thompson just not really being able to throw downfield, and they were just the dump-off. De'Von Achane was just the dump-off, just like Jonnu Smith was. Now, Tua also did that when he came back, but I do think in 2025, the Dolphins are going to come back to that high-flying offense that they had in 2023. De'Von Achane is going to be used a little bit less in the receiving game, and I think that's what makes him so valuable. That's what makes him a top 5 back on Keep Trade Cut. And that's what makes his value so high, because obviously I don't think he's rushing for 1,000 yards, and I think if his receiving numbers go down, he's going to be like a high-end RB2, and he's not going to be a top 5 guy like he's being valued right now. So if you guys can get rid of him while you can for his current value, I think it's at an all-time peak right now. So if you can get rid of him for any picks or players that are equivalent to his value, I think that's a big-time steal. At number 4 on my list, it's Breece Hall of the New York Jets, and I loved him coming out of college. At Iowa State, he had all of the things that I look for in a running back. The speed, the burst, the run IQ, the contact balance, the vision. It was all over his tape, hence why he was a second-round pick. Unfortunately, he's dealt with some big-time knee injuries throughout his NFL career, and that's really zapped his explosiveness and his speed, making him super limited in the running game, unfortunately. I did an in-depth film breakdown of him as a player. If you guys want to check that out, it is on my channel. But in terms of his dynasty value, he's valued as a top 8 running back in Dynasty, and I don't think the value's there for him. I really don't. So in terms of why I think he's rated that high, I think it's mainly due to his receiving usage. Hence, his rushing ability has gone down and down in efficiency every single season. But I will say he's being utilized in the pass game a lot. With Justin Fields coming there, historically, he is not very friendly with his running backs in terms of giving them the ball out of the backfield. So that is a big-time red flag to look out for. And another thing, he's rumored to be traded, Breece Hall is, at the trade deadline if they're not a playoff contender. And if he ends up in a bad situation or a bad team, I think his value can plummet in value. So, guys, you really got to be weighing the risks with Breece Hall here, and for me, I think he's a big-time sell if you have him on your rosters, if you can get fair value for him. At number 3 on my list, it's Joe Mixon of the Houston Texans, and with him, guys, he started off hot last season. He was killing it in the fantasy game for us, and then he fell off a cliff late in the season. He did not even look like the same player. Is that because of the age? Is that because of his body breaking down? Who knows? But he's almost 29 now. Father Time's undefeated, and we're just waiting on that season where his production falls off a cliff or he gets hurt or something like that. You know, he did finish as the RB17 despite missing a few games. Like I said, he started the year off crazy good, but you know, they signed Nick Chubb in free agency, who I think is going to be way more annoying than people think. And if you can buy him for nothing or pick him up off waivers, I think Nick Chubb's a great pickup right now. I think he's still got some gas in the tank. And they also drafted Woody Marks out of USC, a killer athlete that can catch the ball out of the backfield. And I think he's going to be their third down back in this coming season. So that leaves Joe Mixon like very limited in what he can do in the backfield, and I think his value is going to plummet this season after they see the split backfield. But if you can convince somebody that he's still the lead back in Houston, I think you can still get some solid value. He's being valued as an RB2 on Keep Trade Cut right now. So if you can get some value out of Joe Mixon, I think this is the time to sell him. At number 2 on my list, it's Kenneth Walker III for the Seattle Seahawks. And in terms of talent, guys, he's a top 5 back in the NFL. He has all of the explosiveness, the contact balance. He has all of that, the ability to catch it out of the backfield. He has all of the good traits that we like to see in our running backs. The main issue with him is his availability. He's been injured pretty much every single season of his career, and he's coming on the final year of his contract now, and I think Seattle's going to move off of him and not re-sign him because of the availability problems. And you saw what happened last season while he was out. Zach Charbonnet looked excellent. He's a guy that they also spent second-round draft capital on. So I think when Kenneth Walker comes back fully healthy this season, he's going to be in a split backfield with Charbonnet, and his value is going to be tanked. Because right now, he's a top 15 back in Dynasty, which is way too high for a guy that I don't even think has a starting job this year. So if you guys can get that value out of Kenneth Walker right now as a top 15 back in Dynasty, I think that's a huge W for you guys. And number 1 on my list is Chase Brown for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's my biggest sell high right now. I don't believe in the talent. I don't believe in the draft capital. I don't believe in the team investment, especially with how the Bengals are paying people nowadays. With Chase Brown, I don't see any long-term value in him. I don't see any top-tier skills as well. He was super inefficient. If you look at any efficiency metric on Chase Brown, it's very subpar, below average, even sometimes last in the league. With him, I thought he was just running through wide-open holes, and I think his usage is not going to be sustained. You know, all of his dump-offs were very inefficient. He didn't gain a lot of yards. If you look at yards created per touch, he was super low in that category as well. And with Chase Brown, guys, I don't even know if he's going to be the starting running back on his team. You know, they were trying everything that they could to make Zach Moss the starter, but he just couldn't stay healthy. And they drafted a guy late in the draft in Taj Brooks out of Texas Tech, who, if you guys go look at the game logs for Texas Tech and you see some of the numbers that Taj Brooks put up last year, that guy's a stud power back, and he also is a fantastic pass protector. I wouldn't be surprised if Taj Brooks is going to be very annoying for you Chase Brown owners. But with him, he's got the late round draft capital that we don't like. You know, that means more than likely he's not going to be re-signed. And I just think that's a one-hit kind of wonder thing, and I just don't think he's going to reproduce that this season. So if you guys can get the value out of Chase Brown like he's currently being valued, I don't think his value is ever going to be higher than what it is right now. These 5 guys are still valuable, but in my opinion, now's the time to move them before the market cools off. Whether it's declining efficiency, crowded backfields, or overinflated dynasty prices, the red flags are absolutely there. Let me know in the comments who you're selling high on and if there's somebody I missed. Like the video, subscribe for more dynasty breakdowns, and make sure to join the Bobby's Big Board Discord to keep the trade talk going all off-season long. Thank you guys as always for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Hey.